We have a wartime president with dementia and a plethora of mental disorders whose own Defense Department doesn't trust him enough to tell him vital national security information. And there is bombshell reporting from the Wall Street Journal that the Pentagon is hiding intel from the president of the United States. Kylie, pop this up. Dominic Michael Trippi reports military officials intentionally excluded Trump from command room during operation to extract downed American airmen in Iran, fearing his erratic decision making would jeopardize the mission, according to the Wall Street Journal. So I have to say that I think this is a positive thing because I don't think he should be anywhere near a situation room. But we also know that this president allows Benjamin Netanyahu into the situation room. America is being taken over by maniacal, homicidal, genocidal people. So good on the Pentagon for trying to hide information from the president of the United States. I cannot believe I just made that statement, but that's where we are. Meanwhile, the war in Iran is raging on with no ceasefire in sight. Kylie, pop this up. Iranian military announces they will soon respond to the U.S. seizure of an Iranian-flagged vessel, calling it maritime and armed robbery. Trump announces a U.S. Navy destroyer has intercepted an Iranian-flagged vessel in the Gulf of Oman and is now in U.S. custody. This reporting comes as Trump is sending Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, Steve Witkoff is his golf buddy, Jared Kushner, his idiotic son-in-law, and J.D. Vance back to Iran. I'm back to Pakistan to continue negotiations. But here's an interesting tidbit about J.D. Vance. You know, he sent him over to Pakistan originally, and J.D. Vance completely face planted. The Iranians wanted no deal. And then Trump over the weekend said he wasn't going to send J.D. Vance again. And then, of course, tacoed out on that. And now he's sending J.D. Vance back. And I think it's important as we talk about the incompetence that this regime, our regime, the United States of America, with their insane partner Israel, the way they are operating and going around international law, bombing civilian infrastructure, it's important that we also platform the opposition. And somebody who has been coming out once a month, proving that they really understand what American messaging needs to be right now is the Democratic senator from Georgia, Jon Ossoff. He ripped into the incompetence of our negotiators this weekend. Play the clip.
The regime is intact, along with its ability to throttle the global energy supply, along with its stockpile of highly enriched uranium, which it only assembled after Donald Trump shredded President Obama's Iran deal. You remember that? See, the Obama administration had done actual work, led by actual diplomats. Trump literally sends his golf buddy Steve and his son-in-law Jared.
In the same speech, Senator Ossoff also calls out Jared Kushner for making billions of dollars from the Saudis. And the Iranians aren't convinced that they can trust anything that Trump says. Of course, they can't trust anything that Trump says because he is insane. Pop this up, Kylie. Trump's erratic behavior may tank negotiations, Iran says, warning of significantly greater costs to the U.S. if war resumes. A senior Iranian official told DropSite that if Trump starts bombing again, Iran will cut off all diplomatic channels and focus on fighting. And there's another article from DropSite. Ahead of a potential new round of negotiations in Islamabad, Iran believes there is a significant chance that President Trump, urged on by Israel, will resume military attacks if a deal is not reached soon. A senior Iranian official told DropSite Tehran, the official said, is preparing for a prolonged war during which Iran would cut off talks with the U.S. While the official said Iran prefers to make a comprehensive deal with the U.S. that would address nuclear enrichment, offer sanctions relief, and establish a long-term non-aggression framework. Tehran believes the window for an agreement is rapidly closing as a result of maximalist U.S. demands and Trump's erratic behavior. In quotes, our assessment is that Trump effectively lacks both a coherent plan and the capacity to secure even a temporary agreement. His decision-making appears to be grounded in Israeli political and security assessments conveyed to him on a daily basis. And we know this because we know that Benjamin Netanyahu has said that he gets reports and speaks to the Americans every single day. War criminal Benjamin Netanyahu is calling the shots. And we're also learning more about how our quote-unquote ally, Israel, is treating Palestinian prisoners. And I just want to warn you, this is one of the more disturbing things I've seen. Pop this up. Sexual torture of Palestinian detainees from Gaza in Israeli prisons is an organized state policy endorsed by the highest political, military, and judicial authorities. A report reveals how the scope of sexual violence of Palestinian prisoners, including rape, using objects, and trained military dogs constitutes an organized state policy aided and abetted by Israeli institutions and leadership. The Guardian is also reporting that prior to the ceasefire between the two countries, Israel killed 92 healthcare workers in Lebanon in a quadruple tap strike. Israel seems to always want to bomb schools, hospitals, medics. These are war crimes. And I have to say to all of the leftists, to all of the independents, we have to keep exposing what Israel is doing and how maniacal their military is and the war crimes that they are committing. They are training dogs to anally rape Palestinian prisoners. And we say that they are our democracy in the Middle East. They are this beacon of democracy. Keep putting the truth in front of the American people. And I am certain that as soon as the midterms are over, they will no longer be our ally. We absolutely cannot partner with a maniacal, homicidal regime like this. Moving along, there's also reporting from Al Jazeera. Pop this up. Satellite images reveal Israel expanding Gaza military sites. And I just want to say that expanding Gaza military sites could also be reported as illegally taking Palestinian land. So satellite imagery reveals that Israeli military fortifications are expanding at a relentless pace across Gaza, while civilian reconstruction has essentially stopped. Forensic architecture identified 48 Israel military sites within Gaza, 13 of which were built after an October ceasefire. These have evolved into permanent bases with paved roads, watchtowers, and constant communication links to Israel's domestic military network. And this supports the greater Israel ambitions of the Israelis. And this is what's getting the most headlines right now in the United States. Here is an IDF soldier decapitating a statue of Jesus. Israeli soldier smashes the head of a statue of Jesus in southern Lebanon. Israel initially denied the image, claiming it was neither in Lebanon nor its soldiers, but it was later verified and geolocated to Debel in Bent Jbleh district. And here's what I have to say about this. Last week, the president, our president, the demented, mentally ill president that nobody trusts, not even his own Pentagon, posted a picture of himself as Jesus. And there was so much bedwetting over that, but very little bedwetting over actual war crimes, actual human beings that get killed. Now there's all this bedwetting over this statue getting decapitated. But what about the little kids that the IDF shoots in the head, shoots in the heart? What about these prisoners that are getting raped by Israeli soldiers and their dogs? Very little outrage about that. But when something like a statue or an AI image goes out, then you see this consensus. We must keep putting the truth and the facts about the way Israel behaves in front of the American people, because this is not who we are. They can be that way if they want to. It shouldn't be our business. But first and foremost, American U.S. taxpayers want nothing to do with paying for this moral depravity. And I say this to you because we have this kind of internal civil war going on in the Democratic Party. We have the moderates versus the leftists. And we're going to have to build a coalition between the two to fight fascism, full stop. It has to happen. So you have Zoran Mamdani, who is very crystal clear about what every single human rights expert on the planet says, that there is a genocide happening in Gaza, that the Israelis have displaced over 2 million people in Lebanon. They're committing war crimes. They're killing civilians and children and striking bombs and medical centers and medics. The Israelis are doing this in Lebanon. We cannot fund it. We absolutely cannot fund it. So over the weekend, Zoran was interviewed, and he does work with the maniacal United States president because he wants to deliver for New Yorkers, and he will need federal funds to do so. But he never cedes any moral ground, ever, because he says what he believes. And so here he is in an interview, and they ask him if he still thinks Donald Trump is a fascist. Play the clip.
That you've met with him, that you've spoken with him multiple times. Do you still think he's a fascist?
Yes.
And do you tell him that?
Yes.
No, how does he react?
I think everyone saw in the conversation we had in the Oval Office after our first meeting.
Yeah, Trump's like, sure, yeah, go ahead, call me a fascist. I don't care, Zoran. Do what you want to do with me. But this is so important because we have to continue calling him a fascist. And initially, when Trump won the second time. There were a lot of people on the left saying, no, don't call him a fascist. No, don't say that yet. There was all of this bedwetting about that. He's clearly a fascist. He's 100% a fascist. And we're going to have to build a massive coalition, and we're going to have to keep putting facts in front of the American public and in front of the politicians we have. I played John Ossoff earlier because I think we need a candidate for 28 that can build a coalition. John Ossoff recently voted not to fund more bombs, munitions to Israel. And the more and more we put the war crimes that Israel commits with an assist and collaboration and rubber stamp from the United States of America, the more their popularity in the United States tanks, as it should. It absolutely should. So I think this was really an incredible moment that happened over the weekend. And I'll leave you with something that's really a little bit of hopium. It's the mayor of New York with the beloved, most popular member of the Democratic Party, President Barack Obama. And a lot of people on the left would say Obama is a centrist. A lot of people in the center would say Zoran's a commie. But let me tell you, where I grew up in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, the average voter there would see zero difference politically between Zoran and Obama. And that's a really important point. While everybody's bedwetting online about, oh, the left is this, and the moderates this, and the centrist this, and the corporate Dems that, for independent voters and for Republican voters, there's no difference. They just put everybody in the communist pile. But for those of us that really care about preserving democracy, this is huge. Because if Obama is this huge centrist who wants to go along with corporate politics, taking a bunch of PAC money, he goes straight into Zoran Mamdani's New York City, right to a preschool where he can show this is a wonderful idea. We are going to tax the rich so that we can deliver universal childcare for our littlest, cutest New Yorkers. Meanwhile, the MAGA party wants to cover up child pedophilia, and they want to fund and or themselves kill little kids. And this is an important split screen. MAGA, no problem with sexual crimes against children. MAGA, no problem killing children. The Democrats, we want to embrace children and invest in children. Play the clip.
Swish, 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 the wipers on the bus go swish, 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 all through the town.
All right, if you're President Barack Obama, you don't do stuff like this, just like, oh yeah, I'm going to go hang out with the mayor of New York. He's signaling to the Democratic Party, this guy's a winner and his policies are winners. We need to build a strong coalition and take the Democratic Party back to that of FDR to deliver for the people. And it is so important that Barack Obama be a part of this larger conversation. He is beloved. I love him. He is beloved within the Democratic Party. So good on Zoran and Obama. That warmed my heart. And remember, Democrats, the message in this weekend is Trump and Bibi kill kids. Trump and Todd Blanche of the American DOJ cover up for people that rape little kids. The Democrats invest in kids having health care and having child care.